Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
Hey guys, and welcome to a new addition to the YouTube channel for Cavalier Family and the podcast. So on this little segment here, what we are going to do is provide you guys with our movie review. Some of it's actually researched as well to better educate you guys along the way. Now with this little segment, it's not just going to be me, but hopefully it's going to be everybody who's part of the group of Cavalier Family, so then that way you get more than just one opinion. And to start off with our show, what we're going to be doing is actually going to be talking about probably the number one hit movie in the whole entire world at this point. It's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, some of you may not be familiar with this movie. It is, if you're not, then where have you been? Basically, a long time ago, it was rumored that this movie is going to take cross whole different dimensions, whole different worlds, and it does exactly that. This movie was directed by Sam Raimi. The composer was Danny Elfman. Obviously, a lot of you know who Danny Elfman is if you're familiar with Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, and many of the other kind of Tim Burton movies as well. But Sam Raimi, he is the original director of the Tobey Maguire series for Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. However, he got his start by doing the Evil Dead series. He was very much a horror director. Started off with Evil Dead 1, 2. Fun fact about that, of course, Sam Raimi made, with Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead. It was a college movie. Then ended up getting a little bit more production value and money towards it to where they remade Evil Dead, and that's where you get Evil Dead 2. And from there, of course, you get Army of Darkness with Ash and everybody. So he is a perfect example of why he was needed for this movie. Now, this movie itself is different than any other Marvel Universe or MCU movie itself. Just like how the Russo brothers kind of brought a little bit of an espionage, kind of like a thriller to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. This is very much a horror type movie. Now, when I say horror, I mean, yes, the gore, and I mean, yes, the jump scares as well. They are all in there. But let's go ahead and start off with a character that gets introduced to this movie, which her name is America Chavez. Some of you may not be familiar with her. She actually debuted in Vengeance #1 back in July of 2011. She is Latin American descent, as well as part of the LGBTQIA community as well. In this movie, you have a little callbacks to the community, such as the reference of her two moms, as well as the little pin of the pride flag on her jacket, and then the two words that are on her left and right arm, which means love is love. Now, her super abilities are, of course, flight in the comic books, speed, strength, which you see a little bit of her strength in this movie too, as well as dimension, like time jumping, which is a side effect of her, being able to jump from universe to universe, as well as cosmic awareness too. So that's a little fun fact about her. Now, we first get introduced to her in the very beginning of this movie with Defender Strange. They actually escape, or try to escape, this evil entity, and to obtain this book. Basically, it's the opposite version of the black hole that we get introduced to in WandaVision, where Agatha Harkness and Wanda herself battle it out, and that's where we get introduced to Darkhold. So the book that they're going after now is the exact opposite of that. This is where, of course, Defender Strange dies, and America Chavez gets pushed to our universe. Now, just before I go any further, there will be spoilers in this review, so be mindful of that. But I will give you a little heads up just to let you know when something major's come on, so then that way you can go ahead and escape if you need to and come right back to it. So basically, this movie between Doctor Strange, our version is 616, and America Chavez, the chemistry is absolutely there. The character development for both Doctor Strange as well as Scarlet Witch, or Wanda, is absolutely there. Wong, same thing. But I will say, though, America Chavez just completely steals the show throughout the whole entire movie. She's witty, she's funny, and there's a certain lining where, a lot of individuals and a lot of people can relate to her. Like how many characters and many stories, that's the whole point, right? Is being able to relate to the character in the movie. So we get that set up. Now, if you are familiar with a few of the talking points back in the past, Wanda is the villain in this, and there's no doubt about it. She wreaks havoc everywhere she goes. She destroys everybody, basically. And she does it without kindness. Like, she'll give you like a split second of a choice, and if you do not make up your mind, she'll kill you, just like that. So, throughout the process, America Chavez and Doctor Strange are trying to escape Wanda, because Wanda is after America Chavez. And this is kind of where we get into the spoiler a little bit. So just so then, before you guys head out, it is a fun movie. You know, be mindful of a few scenes if you have little ones. There are scary elements, such as there is Wanda coming out of a gong bell, and she comes out all Ring-like the little girl from Ring, and it's awesome if you're familiar with the horror aspects, but it may scare some little ones, so be mindful of that. Now here comes the spoilers. So if you haven't yet escaped already, here we go. So now we get introduced to Earth 838, which of course we are introduced to. That version's of Mordo. Mordo, of course, Earth 616, which, yes, they confine, and they, of course, confirm that MCU is 616. Earth 838, we get introduced to that Mordo, find out that their version of Doctor Strange, died because he used the Darkhold, trying to defeat Thanos. There's more to that, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys to watch. And we, of course, from that point, he gets captured by Mordo, and we get introduced to none other than the Illuminati. At this world, we do get introduced to another Christine, because our version of Christine, she's getting married to another guy. So this version of Christine, they lost Doctor Strange. They didn't quite... Earth 838, Doctor Strange and Christine didn't quite find the love there. They didn't quite get to that version of their relationship. So that's kind of where this movie is also progressing, because Strange is trying to think of how he's going to live a life without Christine. So that's kind of where that character development happens and the progression of his character. And so is in the Baxter building, or the Baxter Foundation, I should say, which is a little call to that. And, of course, we get introduced to the Illuminati, just like I said, and the leaders of the Illuminati are Black Bolt, which the same actor from the TV show is here. We also get introduced to Maria Lambeau, who is the same actress who was in the original Captain Marvel, who is actually Captain Marvel in this movie. We do get the, of course, 90s X-Men, Professor Xavier, and we get that awesome little do-do-do-do-do right there when he gets introduced as well. Then we have Captain Carter. If you know her, she's, of course, from the What If series as well as the comic books. It's if Agent Carter became Captain America, basically. So, Captain Carter. And then, the best fan service so far, besides getting Toby and Andrew and the other Spider-Man, is we get none other than John Krasinski himself as Mr. Fantastic. And he does an amazing job. I hope they progress with John Krasinski in the MCU, the 616. But they do capture, of course, and they talk to Doctor Strange, and things lead up to another. Scarlet Witch is now in that universe by finding and controlling the Wanda of Earth 838, because she finds Tommy and Billy, so her two kids that she's grown to love. She takes control of that Wanda, breaks in to where the Illuminati are located in Doctor Strange, and she obliterates the Illuminati. I'm talking about Black Bolt getting his brain demolished on the inside, seeing it sleep in, seeing blood. We see, unfortunately, John Krasinski kind of get deraveled. He, like spaghetti, basically. Captain Carter gets her shield cut through her. Didn't see that coming. And, of course, you see the blood on the shield, and you see her body kind of just slide sideways. And then Captain Marvel, Maria Lambeau, she gets a statue toppled on her. Professor Xavier, he also dies, unfortunately, with a snap of a neck instead of a, snap of a finger. But ultimately, at the end, of course, we don't know on whether or not Wanda has survived. So if you guys have seen the movie already, let me know in the comments on what you think, if she has survived or if this was the end. My guess, she survived because she did sign on, Elizabeth Olsen signed on for future movies as well. But altogether, this was a fun movie. It was a horror aspect of the movie, and it's a Sam Raimi of a Sam Raimi. Let's just put it that way. You cannot get any other Sam Raimi than this, And if he was provided a rated R, oh, he would have dialed up even further, even with the borderline that he was at already. So again, definitely go see it. It was worth a watch. Now for the end credits, we do get introduced to a character named Clea. She is the niece of Dormammu in the Dark Dimension and future wife eventually of Doctor Strange. She first appeared in Strange Tales. That version of Strange Tales, of course, is the same one that we get introduced to Doctor Strange earlier on. And she first appeared in 1964. Number 126 of Strange Tales, created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. Some of her powers and abilities are energy bolts, energy shields, astral projection, thought casting, teleportation, molecule arrangement, spells, phrases, flames, and fouting. So, we do get introduced to her new character, as well as finally we get Doctor Strange's third eye that you see in the comic books that's actually powered by the Eye of Agamotto in the comic books. This way it happens a little differently, as it does have to deal with the Darkhold. But leave that up to your guys' view and tell us what you think of the movie, because we want you to see it as well. And with that, be on the lookout for future videos, as I will be discussing Firestarter, that's coming out this week based on the Stephen King novel, as well as, of course, The Northman. I'm going to go see in the theater, so be on the lookout for that. And, thank you for joining. Leave a comment below if you haven't already. Subscribe to all social platforms, and we'll see you guys later.